Today we talk about tumors of the nasopharynx. There may be two types of tumors, benign or malignant. In benign, most common is nasopharyngeal fibroma, and in malignant, the most common malignant tumor is squamous cell carcinoma of the nasopharynx. So we talk about both of them. First, benign tumor, nasopharyngeal fibroma. It is commonest of the rare benign tumor of the nasopharynx. It is usually seen males in the second decades of his life and usually present with a recurrent profuse epistaxis. Etiology: since it occurs in the second decade of life, it is proposed the juvenile nasopharyngeal angiofibroma is a testosterone dependent tumor. A nidus of hematomatous vascular tissue undergoes proliferation in response to the testosterone hormonal stimulation. Site: initially thought to be the posterior wall of the nasopharynx, but recent study indicate that site of origin in the fact the posterior part of the nasal cavity near the sphenopalatine foramen. Pathology: angiofibroma, as name suggests, composed of both fibrous and vascular tissue. The vascular element composed of endothelial lined blood vessels without muscular coat. Hence, there is increased risk of bleeding, which is not responsive to application of adrenaline. Pathways of spread: nasal cavity, paranasal sinuses, pterygomaxillary fossa, orbit through superior and inferior orbital fossa, infratemporal fossa. May spread to the cranial cavity. Usually the middle cranial fossa is involved. Spread can be through in front of foramen lacerum, lateral to the carotid artery, or through wall of the sphenoidal sinus to the region of sella turcica, which is medial to the carotid artery. Anterior cranial fossa spread can be occur through roof of ethmoid sinus and pubiform plate. Clinical feature: the usual presentation is one of recurrent profuse epistaxis, which is not necessarily associated with provocative factor, nasal blockage or denasal speech. Blockage to the eustachian tube opening result in conductive hearing loss and serous otitis media. Extension to the orbit results in proptosis and involvement of second, third, fourth and sixth cranial nerves. Swelling of the cheek, a broadened nasal bridge. Investigation: X-ray lateral view nasopharynx reveals the presence of mass. X-ray PNS. CT scan of head with contrast enhancement shows the extent of involvement. Anterior bowing of the posterior wall of the maxillary sinus, which is pathognomic of angiofibroma, known as Holman-Miller sign. MRI for better understanding of soft tissue involvement. Carotid angiography helps to ascertain the level of vascularity and has to be done before attempting embolization. Treatment: surgical resection. There are different approaches available: transpalatine, transmaxillary, intracranial or extracranial. Extended lateral rhinotomy, extended Danker's approach, infratemporal fossa approach, endoscopy method by the help of endoscope. Endoscopic resection is preferred method. Blood loss during surgery is the major problem. Blood loss can be minimized by decreasing the vascularity of the tumor by any of the following methods: hormonal therapy with diethylstilbestrol, or cryotherapy, or coagulation, or embolization. Hormonal therapy, since juvenile nasopharyngeal angiofibroma is an androgen dependent tumor, diethylstilbestrol or flutamide can be tried. Radiotherapy may decrease the vascularity but does not cure it. It is therefore reserved for pre-operative treatment. Cryosurgery, it has been used for decreased vascularity, but results have been disappointing. Chemotherapy for treatment of recurrent and residual lesion after surgery. Squamous cell carcinoma, the commonest tumor of the nasopharynx, is especially common in the China peoples. Varying degree of differentiation occur. The fossa of Rosenmuller is the common site. Clinical types: proliferative, ulcerative, and infiltrative. Proliferative, giving sign of obstruction in the nasopharynx. Ulcerative, when epistaxis may be the prominent feature. Infiltrative and non-ulcerative, in which neuro-ophthalmological signs results. Clinical feature: metastasis in the lymph nodes of the neck, often the presenting sign. They may be unilateral or bilateral. Retropharyngeal, the primary lesion may remain submucosal, invisible for many months after the nodes have appeared. It has been suggested that such primary tumors may arise from submerged portion of lining epithelium of primitive pharynx. Symptoms of local invasion, also known as Trotter's Stride: conductive deafness, elevation in the mobility of the homolateral soft palate, and pain in the side of the head. Conductive deafness due to infiltration of eustachian tube. This may produce to secretory otitis media. Elevation and immobility of the homolateral soft palate. The pain on the side of the head due to involvement of the fifth cranial nerve from infiltration via foramen lacerum. Other symptoms of invasion: internal strabismus due to involvement of sixth cranial nerve. Exophthalmos due to orbital invasion via superior orbital fissure. This leads to paralysis of second, third, fourth cranial nerve. Jugular foramen syndrome, shown by paresis of 9th, 10th and 11th cranial nerve. Nasal obstruction in proliferative type of tumor. Epistaxis in the ulcerative type. Diagnosis by clinical examination such as postnasal mirror or flexible nasopharyngeoscope. Radiography, CT scan may show lesion in the base of skull even when above clinical exam are negative. Biopsy is essential. Treatment: radiotherapy is the method of choice because removal of primary growth is rarely possible. Metastases are often present when patient is in first seen. Tumors are highly anaplastic and highly radiosensitive. Tumors must include whole lymphatic fields. Overall 5-year survival rate is 35 to 75 in early diagnosis. 75% is 5-year survival rate, and in late diagnosis 15% is the 5-year survival rate. Women have a higher survival rate than men. Thank you.